I don't know the intricacies of it always. That's between them. But I know it's not something that's just come up. It's been going on for.
Frank's clearly trying to stay out of the deep waters here, but you can tell this isn't just a minor disagreement. For a split to brew for a few weeks in camp means something foundational cracked, and when you're prepping for the likes of Daniel Dubois, timing couldn't be worse. Or maybe it couldn't be better, and just when you think Frank's done with the safe answers, he doubles down with something even more telling.
So it is what it is, and you know, his training, I'm not sure all they're concerned about. As long as his training camp goes well, whatever the other stuff is they'll work that out between themselves. But you know, I'm certainly not, and I know Daniel's not looking for anything less.
It is what it is. That's code for this is bigger than we're letting on. Frank's doing PR damage control, but even he knows that messing with team chemistry mid-camp is dangerous, unless you're Gavik, who's been mentally bulletproof from day one. Meanwhile, Dubois needs everything to go perfectly just to stand a chance. And if you thought this was just about team drama, wait till Frank drops the truth about Usyk's legacy.
And especially when somebody's been around the block like Usyk is, and what's he now? He's 37 years of age. You know, he's done it all at every level, you know, from being a gold medalist, as you said earlier, cruiserweight, unifying the titles, undefeated, heavyweight, the same thing. You know, he's mentally strong.
This is where Frank can't help but tip his hat. Usyk's done it all. Olympic gold, unified cruiser, dismantled AJ, and still undefeated. That's not just pedigree, that's dominance. At 37, he's not fading, he's sharpening. And mental strength? No comparison. Dubois has folded before. Usyk's never even flinched. Now enter Alex Krassyuk, and he doesn't sugarcoat what this split really means.
Just 27, being a heavyweight, being the champion of the world now, and he's on his way up. Where Usyk is in his 37 is in a top position now. Yeah, so there is.
Krassyuk lays it bare. This isn't about climbing the mountain. Usyk is the mountain. Dubois may be young and hungry, but Usyk's operating at a level very few reach. He's refined, tested, and still reigning. And the idea that there's no other space for him to move up, that just means Usyk has mastered every level of this sport. Dubois might be on his way up, but he's about to meet the ceiling. And it's shaped like Usyk. Whose side are you on? Team Usyk or Team Dubois? Let us know below. Now let's transition to how all this tension, this split, this mental warfare is going to ripple into fight night, and how Dubois is trying to rewrite history.
19th is a chance for Daniel Dubois to go down in British sporting folklore and to go and do the business, you know, reverse that result.
It's do or die for Dubois. Warren's trying to sell it like a fairy tale, a comeback story etched into British boxing folklore. But let's not forget, Dubois was broken against Joyce, and this ain't Joyce he's facing. It's Usyk, a man who outclasses opponents with skill and soul. Reverse that result. Dubois couldn't even finish the original test, and now he's aiming to rewrite history? But even if you buy into the redemption narrative, Chris Eubank Jr. thinks the real battle is happening in the mind.
Yes, well, we invested in him 9 years ago. He's not somebody we just signed up, we invested in him. And that fight with Joe, he was in front on the cards. I mean, I'll talk about that, you know, saying you brought it up. You know, 4 fractures of his eye socket and, as you know, partially detached retina.
Eubank touches on the most underrated factor in boxing, mindset. But here's the thing, when it comes to mental strength, there's levels to this game, and Usyk is operating at a level Dubois hasn't even glimpsed. Daniel might be on a roll, but what roll are we talking about? He's had his moments, sure, but we've also seen him mentally unravel, notably against Joyce, where he opted out rather than push through adversity. Meanwhile, Usyk is built from something altogether different. This man's been through war, quite literally, trained in a war zone, represented his country with pride, and stepped into enemy territory more than once to beat fan favorites. If this fight truly comes down to mindset, then it's not even a fair contest. Usyk lives in the deep end. Dubois is still trying to swim in it. Belief, resolve, focus. Usyk owns all three. Daniel may be rising, but Usyk is already there, and he's not stepping aside. If you think that's all, wait until you hear what Usyk's manager believes about where his support truly lies.
I think Daniel Dubois, he's on a roll. He's coming off of a massive win against AJ. Usyk's also on a massive roll. So, you know, I think that fight's going to come down to mindset.
Now that's a bold statement, and you know what? He's absolutely right. Usyk isn't just respected in the UK, he's adored. British boxing fans know the real thing when they see it, and Usyk is as real as it gets. He doesn't come with trash talk or gimmicks, he comes with skill, integrity, and undeniable class. That's why crowds cheer him, why arenas echo with respect, not just support. Wembley, a supposed home ground for Dubois, could well turn into Usyk Stadium by the sound of the bell, and it's poetic in a way. A Ukrainian fighter walking into the heart of British boxing, yet walking out the crowd favorite. Clamus knows exactly what's happening. This isn't just a fight for belts, it's a battle for legacy and loyalty. And right now, Usyk has both. If Dubois expects to find strength and crowd support, he might be surprised to hear who they're really chanting for. And just in case you forgot how high the bar is, Lennox Lewis steps in with words that seal the truth.
Right now, I believe Usyk has more fans in UK than any of the other UK fighter. And I think Wembley was the very good choice to do it.
When a legend like Lennox Lewis gives you his stamp of approval, that's not praise, that's prophecy. Lennox doesn't hand out compliments like leaflets. He speaks from a place of legacy and experience. And here, he's not just saying Usyk can win, he's saying Usyk will. Why? Because Usyk has walked the hard road. Olympic gold, unified cruiserweight, dethroned AJ in back-to-back masterclasses, and did it all without the flash, without excuses, and without dodging any challenge. That's what Lewis means by certified champion. He's earned it through war after war, and done it with grace. Dubois, he's still trying to prove himself. Still trying to shake off that Joyce loss where he blinked under pressure. Usyk's been in deeper waters and come out cleaner every time. Lennox sees pedigree, he sees preparation, he sees something special, and when one of the greatest heavyweights of all time says you're going to do it, you better believe it's because he sees the greatness you already own. But if anyone can capture the feel of what this fight means, it's Simon Jordan, and he doesn't hold back.
It's not an easy task, but he's definitely the man that can go through with it. He's done the work, he's gone through the pedigree, and he's a certified champion. So, you know, I think, he has big hopes on doing it. He's going to do it.
Simon Jordan hits the nail right on the head. This isn't just about skill or muscle. It's about maturity, background, and the battles that shape a man. Usyk is battle-tested. From a place where toughness isn't taught, it's lived. That's why he enters the ring like a warrior monk. Calm, deadly, unshakable. Every Usyk fight feels like an event because he makes it so. He brings the class, the craft, and the charisma. Dubois is still growing into himself, which is a nice way of saying he's unproven under true pressure. Sure, it'll be a proper fight, but that's because Usyk makes every opponent rise or crumble. It's his energy that defines the atmosphere. And while Jordan gives Dubois his dues physically, the respect clearly tilts toward the man who's seen more, done more, and endured more. This fight's big because Usyk makes it big. And Dubois, he's just trying to survive it. But just when you think Usyk's the calm samurai, Fabio Wardley reminds us this man plays mental chess too.
Usyk is a class act, a mature individual because he's older and wiser, comes from a completely different background. But Daniel Dubois is growing into himself. This will be one hell of a fight. This will be a proper fight, like all of the Usyk fights have been.
Fabio Wardley nails a crucial part of Usyk's game. He's an assassin in a comedian's mask. Usyk doesn't need fireworks at pressers to make an impact. He simply stares, smiles, and speaks in riddles that leave opponents second-guessing their own confidence. That's what real mental warfare looks like. No shouting, no chairs flying, just calm, eerie confidence. You can't prepare for it. Dubois may come in pumped up, thinking he's the predator, but Usyk will already be renting space in his head. Wardley sees it. The jokes, the smirks, the slight glances. They're not just antics, they're calculated pressure points. Usyk has been playing mental chess for years, and most don't realize they've already lost until they're 6 rounds in and chasing shadows. He's not just chill, he's cold, icy. unbothered, and when fight night comes, all those little games will have already done the job before the bell even rings. And then comes a bombshell, not from a peer, but from a pillar of boxing commentary, Adam Smith.
Especially in Usyk press conference, he's not going to start flipping tables and kicking off and this, that and the other. He's going to play a few little games and mind games and that, but aside from that, pretty chill and relaxed.
Adam Smith doesn't mince words, and why should he? Usyk's resume reads like a masterclass in modern boxing. At cruiserweight, he cleaned house. At heavyweight, he didn't just compete, he conquered. Back-to-back wins over Anthony Joshua weren't flukes. They were masterful clinics of ring IQ, footwork, and composure. And while some might debate Fury's status, Smith doubles down. Usyk's already done the double over the best of Britain. That's not just winning, that's domination. He's a generational talent, the kind that redefines weight classes and leaves no doubts behind. Usyk doesn't just beat opponents, he breaks their rhythm, their timing, and their belief. In a sport full of hype and flash, he's pure substance. Cold, calculated, calm under fire. The best of this generation, without question. And for Dubois, stepping into that kind of storm isn't just dangerous, it's career-defining. Or if he's not careful, career-ending. And as if that wasn't enough, Adam doubles down with even more praise in the next moment.
Oleksandr Usyk is the best fighter in boxing, period. Of this generation, what he's done at cruiserweight, what he's done at heavyweight, what he's done to all the other British fighters, to do the double over AJ, the double over Tyson Fury.
Sure.
And look at him, the class he exuded.
The fact that Adam Smith repeats this statement shows how deeply Usyk's dominance has resonated. In a sport where every fighter is one punch away from irrelevance, Usyk has built a fortress. He's faced elite-level pressure and not only stood tall, he shined. His success at cruiserweight was unprecedented, and many thought he'd meet his match at heavyweight. Instead, he made the Giants look lost. AJ couldn't figure him out in 2 fights. Fury, who prides himself on mind games and movement, hasn't even stepped forward to answer him. That's how daunting Usyk's presence is. The biggest names in British boxing know better than to underestimate him. This repetition from Smith is more than commentary. It's recognition. You don't say someone is the best of the generation twice unless you truly mean it, and when respected analysts echo the same truth, that should terrify anyone standing in the opposite corner, especially someone still finding their footing like Dubois. But every great drama needs conflict, and now we dip into the madness of trash talk gone too far.
Tough Daniel Dubois is, and he knows that Dubois improved, but that just spurs Usyk on. I was in camp with him in Gandia before the Fury second fight, and I spoke to him and he said he's really enjoying boxing.
This kind of talk has no place in boxing, not at the elite level, and certainly not when you're facing a man like Usyk. When you start throwing around insults like cheat and liar, especially invoking religion, it reeks of desperation. Russ Amber is spot on. It's absolutely insane, and frankly, it reveals more about the accuser than the accused. Usyk has never carried himself with anything but humility and class. He doesn't retaliate with trash talk. He responds with discipline, silence, and then sheer dominance when the bell rings. These comments aren't mind games. They're emotional outbursts from a camp that's feeling the pressure. When you know you're walking into a storm, sometimes all you can do is scream at the sky. But Usyk, he doesn't scream. He just trains harder, focuses deeper, and prepares to dismantle you on fight night. This type of talk won't rattle him, it'll only sharpen him. And just when you thought the insults couldn't escalate, it spills again from a second angle.
I think, the trainer says to the other fighter and says, you're a cheat and you're not a God-fearing man and you're a liar. And, I think this is just, absolutely insane.
Hearing the same absurd claim repeated again only makes it worse. At this point, it's not just an insult, it's a distraction, and a dangerous one at that. When your trainer is more focused on name-calling than game planning, your camp is already losing prides and structure and mental clarity. He surrounds himself with discipline, strategy, and honor. So when opposing camps throw mud, it doesn't stick, it slides right off, because pride speaks louder than any trainer's tantrum. He doesn't need to clap back with work. He claps back with footwork, with angles, with combinations that make men question their careers. And that's what's really insane here. Not the words, but the idea that they think those words will break a man who stood unbroken through wars, both inside and outside the ring. Pride speaks. Bronze will be in the ring, where it counts. And when that bell rings, all that nonsense will fade into regret. This isn't just another title defense, it's legacy on the line. For Oleksandr Usyk, this fight isn't about proving anything to the world. It's about reinforcing what we already know, that he's the most complete fighter of this generation. A win here means another chapter in a career that's already borderline mythical. He's cleared out cruiserweight, outboxed the best at heavyweight, and if he handles Dubois with ease, he stamps his place in the all-time greats. No debate, but let's flip it. What if Dubois pulls off the unthinkable? What if the underdog silences the critics and hands Usyk his first professional defeat? It would send shockwaves through the sport and launch Daniel into superstardom. But that's a big if, because let's be honest, Usyk has seen deeper wars, darker moments, and heavier pressure. Who wants it more? Who's mentally stronger? Who bends and who breaks? Usyk has already shown he doesn't fold, so now it's over to you. Are you backing the icy composure of Oleksandr Usyk, or do you believe Daniel Dubois has what it takes to shock the world? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let the debate begin.